Hi, this is Khidr Suleman here for v3.co.uk.
And Chris Martin for the Inquirer, and today we're going to have a quick look at the Samsung Galaxy Tab, the Blackberry Playbook and the HTC Flyer.
And we're going to decide which one is the best for business use and personal use as well. So if we take a look at the Flyer first, so this is HTC's first ever tablet and it's got some reasonable specifications. It comes with Android 2.3, it's got a 7-inch form factor and a 1.5 gigahertz Qualcomm processor, and it comes with 1 gigabyte of RAM. So how did you find it when you used it, Chris?
I mean it is pretty snappy. It doesn't lag at all, and you've got some interesting little effects like that, and you've got all your usual Android type overlay. HTC Sense overlay's been specially designed for the tablet, so it's like a one-off version of it. So you've got the app tray at the bottom there, which is good.
I'd actually disagree with you a little bit. Out of the three, I probably think it's the slowest, despite having better specifications than the Galaxy Tab. I mean, when I was using the Notes app, after you use it for a while and if you draw some complicated pictures or something, it can just take forever to load up. I mean, it can be very slow. That was quite quick, but it can take 10, 15, 20 seconds. So I think as you go on to use this device, the performance does get a little bit compromised compared to the other two. But that saying that, it's got that Sense interface. So people who are used to using HTC will be familiar with this and have all the little widgets and have those little things. And we also have HTC Watch in there, obviously, which is the special application that they've provided, and you can rent movies as well from here. But again, the price is a bit expensive, so it might just be better to get a Love Films subscription and rent films.
It is the only one with a stylus out of the three, and we quite like this, but it is a quite chunky pen really, and you can only do really superficial things to the tablet, and there is this annoying thing where you can only tap the pen button with the pen, and the rest you have to still continue using your finger to touch, which is just didn't seem intuitive. There is a function for recording audio whilst you take notes, and you can play back the audio from the particular bit of note that you took at the time, which is cool.
But the tapping gets
I mean the nib on this just really makes quite a noise on the screen, which we didn't like at all. And this is battery powered, so you're gonna have to keep changing the battery on it all the time.
Okay, so let's move on to the Playbook then. So this is probably targeting business users, isn't it? It's got probably the best specifications out of the three. It's got a 1 gigahertz dual core processor from Texas Instruments, 1 gigabyte of RAM, 16 gigabytes of storage for the entry level version, and it's quite light as well. It's 425 grams, and I think it's probably got the best form factor out of the three, hasn't it?
Yeah, it is actually the heaviest out of the three. It's only 5 grams heavier than the HTC, but it's really not a problem. All of the devices are quite light, and being 7-inch, you're not gonna kind of feel the strain on your hand holding it one-handed compared to like an iPad size device. But yeah, I think this has got the nicest looking screen. I don't know if that's partly because of just the graphics that they've used for the interface, but because all of the tablets have got the exact same resolution. But yeah, I think the main thing about the Blackberry is the multitasking. So if we quickly open a couple of apps, you'll see it load, and what you do is you swipe up from the bezel to go back to this kind of main menu. So there's no actual home button like you've got on the HTC and the Samsung. You use these kind of swipe gestures to navigate around, and if we just open another one, what we can do is flick between the apps by using the bezel, which I particularly like. And if we go back, you can see all of your open apps in a horizontal line. And yeah, I don't know if you can talk about the bridging thing.
Yeah, I mean, again, just talking about the interface, that's probably one of you know, my favorite bits of it. It's just so intuitive. You go left, you go right, you know, you swipe up, and it's all just so easygoing. There's no buttons or anything. You can just use the volume buttons on there and the power button if you want. But it's you know, it's such a great design. It's intuitive. It's, you know, it goes right up against iOS and Apple. And yes, as Chris said, so you can, to get the best out of the Playbook, you're going to have to use the bridging feature with the with one of your BlackBerry devices, and then you go into settings and you set that up so you can actually get your email and your BBM ported directly onto the screen. So the thing is, when you disconnect your phone from the Playbook, everything gets wiped automatically, so that's quite a good security feature. But the thing is that you're going to have to always connect your device. The thing is, it doesn't come in a 3G model at the moment, although they will release one in the future, hopefully this summer. So it does have limited functionality in the Wi-Fi model. But then you could say that about any of the tablets, couldn't you? If they don't have 3G, you know, you're only going to ever be able to use them, you know, when you're at home, when you've got your Wi-Fi connection, or when you're at work, and when you're between journeys, you know, unless you've got a really good data plan, you're going to be stuck a little bit unless you've downloaded apps and you can do stuff that don't require going online. So, you know, that's quite a good one. And another thing, it's got the HDMI connection as well. It's the only one out of the three, so it's, you know, it's probably going to be the longest lasting out of the three, I'd say, in terms of, you know, how long the hardware is actually going to hold up. And finally, we come to the...
So the Samsung was the last one to look at. So this is the one that's been around for the longest. I think it was Samsung's first tablet. So this has got a 1 GHz processor, 512 megabytes of RAM. As we said before, the same screen resolution of 1024 by 600. This is the lightest one out of the three at 380 grams, and it's 12 millimeters thick. So we've got a kind of the plasticky back, but that doesn't feel too bad, and it kind of gives it a bit of durability. It's got the worst cameras out of the three, so we've got a 3 megapixel rear-facing camera, whereas the other two tablets have got 5 megapixel cameras, and on the front is a 1.3 megapixel up the top there for your webcam.
I'd say overall this is probably my favourite out of the three. It's got everything you want in it. It's got a great Android operating interface. It's 2.2, so it is a bit dated, but you can upgrade this to Gingerbread to 2.3, which is really good. It's probably not going to be able to handle Honeycomb though, because it's getting quite old now. But again, you know, the interface is great. I think actually is smoother than the HTC Flyer, which is, you know, quite surprising considering this is dated. And the best thing about this is, you know, you can pop your SIM card in one of the holes there. We've got a micro SIM and a SIM card tray there. I've just put my SIM card in. This basically acts as a smartphone now, so I can get all my messages, I can make calls, I can put all my contacts. You know, it's got a great little interface here, so I can sort people into groups and favorites and everything. So, you know, that is quite a handy business feature. You know, it's got full flash support, so it's 3G as well. So out of these three tablets here, if I was on the move, this would give me the most functionality. And you know, the only thing I don't like is the back. It's very, very slippery. It gets quite greasy, and you know, perhaps the screen isn't as bright as it could be, especially if we had an iPad 2 here. You know, it just wouldn't really look as good compared to Apple, and it is a little bit chunky. But like with the Playbook, it's this very similar size. It's even a bit smaller. Put that here. So, you know, if you've got a jacket pocket, you know, an inside jacket pocket could possibly, you know, fit in there, which would be really handy. So just talking about the prices then quickly, do you want to start with the Flyer? So you can get an entry-level Flyer for £480 roughly, and that will be the Wi-Fi only though, so it will be definitely over £500 if you want to get the 3G model. So it is very pricey considering the specifications that are on offer there.
And the Playbook you can get for about £400 with 16 gigabyte of storage. You can get a more expensive 32 gig model, and at the moment there's no 3G option for that tablet.
Mm-hmm. And then we have the Galaxy Tab, the 7-inch. So you can get this for about $250 for the Wi-Fi version, and that's from a retailer, any of the retailers. We saw this on Asda because they seem to be selling it very cheaply on there. But the one thing about this is they seem to be getting snapped up, and we don't know if Samsung are going to continue making this because they're launching the 8.9-inch Galaxy Tab as well. So if you can get your hands on one, it's definitely worth the price because it is the cheapest out of the three, and as we said, it's got some of the best functionality on there. So which one's your favourite out of the three, Chris?
It's hard to say. I think I like the Blackberry design and the operating system the best, as much as I like Android. But if I was struggling for the price to buy one of the kind of what we might say was a premium tablet, I definitely would go for the Samsung.
Cool. I'd say for business users, if you can afford to get the Playbook and you have a BlackBerry device, then this is obviously, the tablet of choice for you because, you can sync it with your device and connect it to the internet and have the bridging feature and get the most out of the device. Although the HTC Flyer is, a decent first tablet, it's just not quite right from HTC, and we're hoping they can improve on that in the future. So my choice would probably be to go for the Galaxy Tab. I mean, even though it's got Android, it's got great functionality. I can connect, my work emails on there, so that's no problem for Exchange. I can use it as a phone, get all my text messages. So just in case I've, forgotten my phone at home or in the office, I can use this. So, and considering the price, it's an absolute steal.